The Edible Bean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Hensel Co-op.
Hi, I'm Bernard Tobin. Welcome to the Edible Bean School. Today I'm near Thamesford, Ontario, catching up with Matt Langford. Sir, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Bern?
I'm great. Hey, thanks for the invitation. I want to talk striptill with Matt today. Hey, but before we do that, give us a snapshot of the operation. Tell us about the place.
Yeah, so farm with my wife and her family, and we farm about 700 acres, corn, wheat, soybeans, and edible beans.
Now, I've been doing striptill reports for about a decade. Mostly corn, but never edible beans. In 2025, you did striptill in this field for the first time. Tell me why. You know, what was the attraction?
Well, we're on Cobble Hills Road, so we have hills and we have stones, and we've got pretty productive soil, but just trying to keep that soil where it is. We've had some problems with erosion on some of the hills in the past, and so we've been trying to cut down on tillage. Last we were using a high-speed disc. Last year, we were planting corn with it, and that went actually quite well. But trying to plant edible beans, we were getting a lot of corn stalks in our seed trench, and just kind of we were fighting with it, and just thought, you know, if we were able to just move these corn stalks out of the way, we'd have a perfect seed bed here. And so we thought we should just try some in striptill.
Now, Matt, you got a fertile soil here. You got some stones. You got some residue. You got some topography. You started the striptill. Talk about, I guess, the machine, SoilWarrior.
Okay, so it's a SoilWarrior. We're on 20-inch rows, so it's 20-inch configuration. Working to put variable rate dry fertilizer on it. It's SoilWarrior. It's got row cleaners, and then 3 coulters doing the tillage, and then closing discs at the back. And with the SoilWarrior, we're quite happy with it. Yeah, it's a pretty robust machine. We didn't have to do any repairs while we were using it. And yeah, we've been really happy with it. And because it doesn't have the shank with some stones, we're not pulling the stones up yeah, when we're doing tillage.
Now, you did spring strips this year, obviously, only. What did you think of that? Maybe some fall strips? What's the thinking?
Yeah, so I'm not sure, especially on 20-inch rows, if we'd be able to move all that kind of fresh residue in the fall. I think I might try to manage it a little bit better, knowing what we had to deal with this spring. But I think especially for edible beans, given we have until June before we are planting, we have a little bit more time to work with that residue. But I think in the fall we have to do something, whether we can run over it with the SoilWarrior but without the row cleaners and try to manage the corn stalks that way, or do a better job with the corn head but just try to get less residue to deal with in the spring.
Yeah. Let's talk about the planter setup here, planting into those strips. Were you happy with how that went?
So we were really happy with how the corn planter stayed, or how the planter stayed on the strips. All that went really well. I think the row cleaners on the planter we had set up quite well, because we were trying to do minimum tillage before, and we needed the planter to do a lot of that residue movement. Our challenge we had this year was we were trying to move the last 10% of the corn stalks without moving the top off the berm. So the strip tiller makes a berm, and we wanted to keep that soil hilled up. Where we used to be able to be a little bit more aggressive with the planter row cleaners, this year we were counting on the strip tiller row cleaners to do that work.
Let's talk about weed control. You did admit, you know, you've got some challenges here. It looks pretty good, but you've got some escapes. What happened?
Yeah, so we use our normal herbicide rotation for edible beans. So Prowl, Dual, and Pursuit with a burn down before and Reflex after. I think part of the challenge is that with strip till you don't have a full flush of weeds. So with a high-speed disc or a cultivator, all the soil gets moved. Any seeds that are there will germinate and then can come back with herbicide, or that original pre-plant herbicide would take care of them. This, I think, after we had sprayed Reflex, we were pretty happy with how it looked. But in the time since then, I think we've had some new weeds. It hasn't helped that it's been dry, so the beans have been maybe a little slower to grow, and the weeds have not minded that dry soil as much. So I'm not sure if next year will be the same, but I think this year, yeah, we definitely have had probably more weeds than we expected.
So Matt, you've been digging around here, doing a little bit, looking at the strips and looking at, you know, that ground between the strips. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing still residue, so we're mid-August now, and we still have some corn stalks on top, which is nice for protecting the soil. It's also being dry, and we're seeing, I think, pretty decent moisture for soil that's in the strips and between the strips. I don't really have a benchmark of what other people's soil would look like, but I'm pretty happy with, considering how dry it is, how this soil looks.
Now we're moving into the back end of August, not too far from harvest. As I say, you're happy with what you've seen so far. What do you expect through harvest with this system?
So we're going to pull these beans. They're dark red kidneys, and we were a little bit concerned about how we would get the pullers in the ground. Especially, we had some challenges with how much corn stalks we had, about being able to do inter-row cultivating, which we normally rely on in order to be able to put the pullers in the ground. But the soil's quite workable, I would say, so I'm not really concerned about that. But we will be using knife pullers with a windrower behind, and I'm confident we'll be able to harvest those.
So we haven't gotten through harvest yet, but what's the takeaway for growers watching here today? We thank you for being a bit of a pioneer in doing this. But so where are you at from a mindset right now with the experience so far?
Yeah, so I'm very happy with the strip till, corn, soybeans, white beans. On these ones, I think there's a few things that we'll have to modify, but I think I'm committed to keeping it going in edible beans. Really nice seed bed that we're planting into, and just trying to make everything else work with it.
Well, what I think we should do is come back here in the spring and get a look at the stripper in action and figure out what your takeaways from the end of the year. How about part 2 in the spring?
You'd be welcome to come back.